will be demonstrating how to make sensory bottles. So sensory bottles are typically clear bottles filled with liquids and contain various objects. And here I have little star-shaped beads and glitter, various objects that sink or float. The goal is to create a variety of sensations when shaken. So sensory bottles may have small objects, glitter, or food coloring to create an engaging effect. Sensory bottles are a non-messy way for children with ASD to experience tactile, visual, and auditory sensations without risk of choking or injury. Additionally, sensory bottles help them make meaningful connections with their environment. So sensory bottles are a fun and practical activity that parents and children can engage in together, whether that's just making them or playing with them. The biggest benefit of a sensory bottle is that it provides an external source to control physiological and emotional responses to stress. So sensory bottles really help with emotional regulation. Learning to self-regulate is essential for participation in our everyday occupations. So strategies we often use to teach self-regulation include deep breathing, wrapping oneself in a blanket, self-massage, or finding a quiet place. Children with ASD often need co-regulation, so usually another party, being a parent or caregiver or teacher, first initiate or demonstrate the strategy. Sensory bottles help take co-regulation and make it self-regulation. So if a child is upset or experiencing a meltdown, sensory bottles help bring their focus to a single point. So if just looking at this, you're just watching. So these are little star beads in here and glitter, and I'm just watching them fall slowly, and I'm really focusing on that. So that's what it's going to do for a child with ASD. They're going to focus on this, and it's going to cue their body to calm down. So it's going to kind of help them slow down their breathing, slow down their thinking, and just kind of quiet down, and eventually they'll calm down. And so this is a great tool for them to go from relying on an adult to help them calm down to being able to calm down independently. Additionally, sensory bottles provide proprioceptive input through shaking. So when we shake the bottle, and obviously a child is going to want to shake the bottle because it makes the stuff move and it's cool. It provides that proprioceptive input. It also provides tactile input because this is just a regular Ozerko water bottle, and so there's ridges on it. So as they're kind of touching it and feeling it, and it will provide that tactile input. And depending on what you put inside the bottle, it will provide auditory input as well. And then, of course, visual input, because they're just, they're looking at it. It's pretty. So they're looking at it and they're watching it. And so it's really going to provide that visual input. So sensory bottles provide just a less destructive way of letting it out, because when you imagine a child having a meltdown, they are upset, they can shake the bottle. And as they start calming down, they might stop, they might not shake it as much and really kind of more so focus on what's in the bottle. And just watching the glitter or toys fall in the bottle slowly will provide a visual cue for the child's body to calm down. So what we'll need to create a sensory bottle is plastic bottles. These I used just regular Ozerko water bottles that I had drank out of previously. This is just a Pedialyte bottle right here, and this is a old popcorn kernel bottle. So you can just use any shape, size, and just kind of make just so that it makes it interesting. And For the little sticky stuff, there's stuff that you can buy to remove the sticky stuff that holds the tag, or you can just use some Dawn soap and warm water and a sponge, and that will also help get rid of the sticky residue. Small items. So some small items I have are these little star beads. And then I also have glitter because any excuse to use glitter, really. And I also found some food dye. And then you just need either clear glue, baby oil, or hair gel. I found this at Target in the arts and crafts section. So I just decided to pick this up. And then water. So the instructions for how you're going to make the bottle, and I'll demonstrate that now, is if you're going to wash the bottle out, obviously. So I had to wash this out. This was red Pedialyte, so I washed this out. This had popcorn, like residue in it, so I washed this one out. You're going to fill the bottle with favorite items. Anything goes as long as it can fit through a little hole. So that's also probably going to that's probably going to help determine what type of bottle you get. So if you want to put bigger items, you might want to get a bottle that has a bigger hole versus smaller items, smaller hole. Dry ingredients, again, for auditory stimuli, I'll kind of demonstrate that as well, as you can go outside and get sticks or leaves and put them in the bottle. So once you have your clear plastic bottle, so I'll use this one for the liquid sensory bottle. I'll demonstrate how to do a dry ingredients one as well. But for the liquid one, first you're going to wash the bottle out. I already did that. This had red Pedialyte in it, so I washed it out with just some soap and water. Remove the label. As I said, to get the sticky residue off, you can just use warm water, soap, and a sponge and just kind of scrub it off. There's also products that you can buy that will get that off for you. You're going to fill the bottle with your favorite items. So like I said, I like the star beads. I thought they were pretty. So you kind of just fill them up. So you fill the bottle up with some items that you want to, and I filled them up with all the rest of my star beads. And then you can put some glitter in here. I'm going to do some blue glitter. Just going to put a lot in there. Never too. And then you will take some glue. And so the amount of glue to water you want to do, so I have some warm water in here, but the amount of glue to water you want to do is very dependent on how slow you want the effect to be. So I kind of eyeball it. You can get exact measurements. There's some recipes online where you can get exact measurements, but I kind of just eyeball it. At worst, it's going to be really, really slow, but that's okay. And I did have some food coloring for this one, so I'm going to put some food coloring in this. So I suggest only kind of doing like halfway to kind of see if you're kind of doing a good job with the mixing. So you're going to mix it up. Yeah, so this got really dark, and so you can barely kind of see my little star beads, so that's kind of unfortunate. But I think if I add more water, you might be able to. Just a little bit more glue before I start adding some water. So because I know children like to play with things the way they're not supposed to be playing with things, because that's just how kids are wired. After you are finished making a little sensory bottle, what you're going to want to do is glue it. So once you have your sensory bottle, because you don't want it to be opened or messed with, you don't want it to be opened or dumped out or any children to drink out of it, you're going to use hot glue or tape I used both, but really hot glue or tape, either one is fine. And you're just going to glue around the edges. And then just wait for it to dry, the hot glue to dry, and you will have a fun little sensory bottle. Now I'm gonna go outside and show y'all how to do a dry ingredients one with some things that we find outside.
Here.
You just need an empty bottle in nature to take this activity outside. Doing this activity outside in your backyard or at a park is a great way to incorporate your child that you might otherwise not feel comfortable letting handle liquid materials. You'll probably need to demonstrate the activity a few times, pairing with frequent verbal instructions.
Can you put it in?
You might also need to provide multiple redirections to ensure your child isn't dumping out, throwing, or perseverating on certain aspects of the task.
Can we put this leaf in?
This is a great way to ensure that your sensory bottle is filled with stuff they are interested in. Going outside is a great way to get away from screens and technology. Using sticks, leaves, or pebbles for dry ingredients is a great way to facilitate playing and exploration outside. By picking these items up and placing them into the bottle, your child is working on fine motor coordination, gross motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and attention. This is also a great way to practice object identification, following verbal commands, and functional play. Overall, this is just a great bonding activity between you and your child. Once you're finished collecting all your dry ingredients, just place the cap back on the bottle, glue or tape it closed, and then you have your dry ingredient sensory bottle.